If you're a person that values relationships in your life, I have a great idea for you. It's super easy to do. It will take less than an hour. You already have everything that you need. And I guarantee you that in few years, well, maybe 20 or 30 years, it all depends, you will be so happy you did it. If you won't do it, at some point in your life, you will regret not doing it. I actually got this idea after I realized one of my biggest regrets. But let me tell you some background story. I grew up in Poland in a multi-generational family. And what that means is that besides my parents and my brothers, also my brother's wife and his kids and my grandmother lived with us. This is my grandmother, Leocadia. There was no internet when I was a little girl, so instead of spending endless hours watching YouTube or playing video games, I would grab a deck of cards and go to my grandma's room to play with her. And I don't know what it is about moms, but moms are always busy. My mom was cleaning and cooking and doing mom things, so I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, getting close to her. So when I was 6 or 8 years old, I started going to her and asking her, "Hey grandma, please tell me about our family or about the war," because she was 16 when the World War II started. She told me a story when she was picking potatoes because she grew up on a farm, when the Russians started bombing and she had to hide in a corn so they wouldn't see her. She also told me that by the time she was 23, she was considered a spinster in her town. So it was very important that she gets married as soon as possible. And one guy showed up and had an audacity to ask her to marry him because he had a farm and it was like a good time to kill the pigs or cows and throw a big wedding ceremony reception. Well, she said no. I don't know if she didn't like him or she didn't think it was a good enough reason to get married. But after that, my grandfather showed up. And he was 16 years older than her, but they got married. And she told me a lot of stories about his family because he had like 8 or 9 siblings. One of them died as a young man working in construction in Argentina somewhere, fell off the scaffolding. So it was all like a very interesting family stories that I heard from her. I often brought a notebook and a pen and tried to write them down. But, as a little girl, I always abandoned the attempt. It was too much to write. And then I went to college, and after that moved to another country, 4,500 miles away, and only saw my grandma maybe once a year. But every time I came back, I saw her and I asked her the same questions. "Grandma, tell me about our family. Tell me about the war." This is my last picture with my grandmother when my daughter was 1. My grandma died 5 years ago, and the biggest regret that I have is that I don't have any videos of her talking, moving, most importantly, don't have any videos of her sharing her incredible stories. Especially that 5 years ago, videos were already very popular and I could have easily recorded her. I just didn't think of it. And now it's obviously too late. But it wasn't too late to do it with my parents. So guys, I set up a camera and interviewed my parents. And oh, the things I found out. Apparently, my mom almost died when she was a newborn because she was allergic to cow's milk, but they didn't know it back then because, it was 70 years ago. And my dad almost died when he was 18 in a motorcycle accident. I didn't know any of that till I started asking them these questions and recording it. So I think that you should drop whatever you're doing right now, Google good questions to ask your parents or your grandparents, set up a camera, set up an interview, and do it. Record their answers. Keep it for the generations and for yourself to cherish it for the next 20, 30, 50, 100 years. And then, in 100 years, email me and tell me that I was right. You aren't regretting doing it.